Let me start with a situation that's probably going to feel uncomfortable. It's the middle of the month, not the end, not a crisis moment, just the middle. You open your banking app to check something small, maybe to see if a bill cleared, or if you can grab food without thinking too much about it, and instantly your stomach tightens. Not because you spent irresponsibly, not because you went on a shopping spree, but because even though you're working hard, even though you're doing what you're supposed to do, everything still feels fragile. One late fee, one unexpected expense, one small mistake, and suddenly the month gets very expensive. If that's ever happened to you and you thought, why does being broke feel like it costs so much? Yeah, that's what this video is about. My name is Jerry, and I spend way too much time thinking about the poor tax nobody warned you about. If you're someone who works hard, tries to be responsible with money, but still feels like you're constantly paying extra just for not having enough, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing, this video isn't about shaming people who struggle. It's about explaining a system that quietly punishes them. What people think the problem is. Most people believe financial stress comes from one of three things. 1. Not earning enough. 2. Not budgeting properly. 3. Making bad decisions. And look, sometimes income really is the issue. But here's what most people don't realize. Even when two people earn the same amount, the one with less financial margin almost always pays more. More in fees, more in interest, more in stress, more in long-term consequences. This is what economists call the poverty premium. Most people just call it bad luck. What the poor tax actually is, the poor tax isn't a literal tax you see on a paycheck. It's the extra money you pay because you don't have money, and it shows up everywhere. Let me give you a few examples. Example 1, banking fees. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Americans pay over $8 billion per year in overdraft fees alone. Let that sink in. Overdraft fees don't affect wealthy households. They affect people who are already stretched. Let's say your account drops below zero by $10. You get hit with a $35 overdraft fee. Now you're not $10 behind, you're $45 behind. And if you don't catch it in time, you might get hit again tomorrow. That's not discipline, that's punishment. Example 2, interest rates. Here's where it gets worse. People with less savings almost always rely on higher interest debt, credit cards, buy now, pay later, payday loans, subprime auto loans. According to the Federal Reserve, the average credit card APR is now around 20 to 25%. Now let's do simple math. If you carry a $3,000 balance at 24% interest, you'll pay roughly $720 per year in interest. That's $720 you didn't spend on anything. That's the poor tax. Example 3, transportation. Now you might be thinking, okay, but that's just bad financial management. Look, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about cars. Someone with savings can buy a reliable used car with cash or low-interest financing. Someone without savings often has to finance an older car at a higher interest rate with higher repair costs. AUDARBASH estimates that unreliable transportation costs low-income workers thousands per year in missed work, repairs, and higher financing costs. Being broke makes transportation more expensive. Example 4, housing. This one hurts the most. People with strong credit and savings can choose safer neighborhoods, lock in stable housing costs, avoid constant moving. People without savings often face higher deposits, higher rent, fewer choices, frequent moves, and frequent moves cost money, application fees, deposits, utility transfers, time off work. Stability is cheaper, but only if you can afford it up front. The math adds up quietly. Here's the part that really messes with people. None of these costs feel dramatic on their own. $35 here, $80 there, a higher interest rate, a late fee. But over a year, that can easily add up to $2,000 to $5,000. Over a decade, tens of thousands of dollars. This is why people feel stuck even when they're trying. The psychology of the poor. Tax. Now let's talk about what this does to your brain. Research from Princeton shows that financial scarcity reduces cognitive bandwidth by the equivalent of 10 to 13 IQ points. That's massive. When money is tight, every decision feels urgent. Long-term thinking disappears. Stress becomes constant. So when someone says, just plan better, or just invest, it feels insulting because you're not lacking knowledge. You're overloaded. So why it feels like you can't get ahead. Here's the brutal feedback loop. 1. Low margin leads to higher costs. 2. Higher costs reduce margin even more. 3. Stress increases. 4. Decisions become short-term. 5. More fees, more interest, more penalties. This isn't laziness, it's physics. And once you're in it, climbing out feels exhausting. Now you might be thinking, okay, but people still need to take responsibility. Yes, of course they do. But responsibility works better when the system isn't constantly draining you. Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth isn't just about earning more. It's about reducing friction. The real advantage of money. Money doesn't just buy things, it buys time, flexibility, lower costs, fewer penalties, better options. The real advantage of money is that it removes the poor tax, and once that tax disappears, progress speeds up. How to start escaping the poor tax. Practical steps. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Protect your cash flow first before investing, before optimization, before side hustles. Your first goal is stability. That means avoiding overdrafts, avoiding late fees, avoiding high-interest emergencies. Even a $500 buffer changes everything. Step 2. Eliminate the most expensive money. First, not all debt is equal. Focus on high-interest credit cards, payday-style products, anything above 15 to 20%. You don't need perfection, you need relief. Step 3. Automate what you can. Automation reduces mistakes. Mistakes are expensive. Auto pay minimums, auto transfer small savings, auto alerts for balances. This isn't about discipline, it's about reducing penalties. Here, step 4, increase margin before income. Here's the counterintuitive part. Reducing financial friction often helps more than increasing income. Cut one fee, eliminate one interest charge, stabilize one bill. Margin creates thinking space. Thinking space creates better decisions. A short story. I know two people who earned almost the same income for years. One had a small emergency fund, stable housing, low interest debt. The other didn't. 10 years later, the difference wasn't talent. It was friction. One paid thousands more just for being vulnerable. The surprising truth. Here's what most people don't realize. Being poor is expensive. Not because of bad choices, but because the system charges you for instability. Once you see that, you stop blaming yourself for everything, and you start fixing the right problems. Final motivation. Look, you don't need to be perfect with money. You don't need to optimize everything. You just need to stop paying extra for being stretched thin. The goal isn't luxury, the goal is margin. Because once the poor tax disappears, progress finally feels possible. If this video helped you see money differently, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you want more calm, honest explanations about money without hype or nonsense. And ask yourself tonight, where am I paying extra just for being stretched? And how can I reduce that friction? Because the moment the poor tax disappears, your money finally starts working with you, not against you.